Make sure I'm live on the right channel, right? You got your screen in the right spot today?
No, I don't
Oh
actually.
my lordy. Get it
I
together.
all it is just moving the screen so I'm looking at you instead of it's really not a screen or anything.
It's
Basically,
not.
I uh just move your face in front of the camera so I'm talking to you. I'm
You
talking
talking to me?
I'm talking to
Oh, you
you.
talking to me?
Yes, the guy's gonna do the bead.
And of course the phone
Bead
has to ring
today.
right now. Of course the phone has to hold on. You talk to him. I gotta go live.
Hello, I don't know if we're live or not. If we are live, this is Starpo, your happiness coach. What are you doing today to be a little bit more happy? You know, they say get up and start your day with a plan. So, what's your plan today? I got up and, of course, got a hold of Scott because we do this every Wednesday, and I got some coffee. I was gonna pick up this cup. I guess I'm gonna do it. It's a Starbucks cup, and I didn't know why. You know, it's a nice cup, and I got a lot of cups. But anyway, I'm not trying to advertise for Starbucks. So anyway, we got Scott coming in today. He's working on a big presentation coming up tomorrow, and he's going to. Well, of course, we teach for years and years and years, but he's going to do a presentation tomorrow. I don't know where he's gone to, and I'm not even sure if we're live, but if we are, remember, do something
Oh my
today that
lordy.
makes you a little bit happier.
So the phone call actually ran. We actually have five DJs at a corporate event right now. Right now. And I put all of my people to work, and I got an emergency phone call, and I had to figure out what was going on with the guys over there. And that's kind of the reason why I wanted to be a coach to begin with, to show people, how I was able to do it. But yeah, what I had to, that was like an emergency phone call, which was good news, by the way. But they needed a decision now, and I had to make the decision, which was great. One of my DJs actually did some extra time yesterday and the day before, for prep and rehearsal, and he put the smile on and just went ahead and did everything. And then last night, they wanted to extend because he was doing such a great job, and then he had a quick turnaround. He had to be here yeah, well, back in Orlando at 7:30 in the morning for general session in the morning. And the phone call basically was, well, they're done with him for today and tomorrow. Is there anything that we need to do to make sure that he's tied up? And actually worked out pretty good because he did the extra time the other days. They saw that, and then they cut him a break for today and tomorrow,
There you
which
go.
worked out good. It worked out great. Yeah. But it was a decision, you get that 911 text, you got to answer.
Yeah, especially when you're the boss, because some people, that there is a thing we do. Sometimes we put in our contracts that if there's any overtime or anything, it's billed at the same rate or something like that in our contracts. But sometimes, like this, there somebody's because sometimes you go to a gig, and this is off subject today, but
I know.
you go to a gig, and a lot of times you can bring a form, or the entertainer has a form, or you already have it in the contract that somebody signs for overtime. Because at an event, I don't know if you've ever had that happen to you, Scott, but I've had this happen many, many times throughout my career where somebody says, "Can you stay over?" And they're saying, "Can you stay over?" And then they're wanting to pay you. It's like, "You want to stay over? We got beer back there." And of course, you don't ever drink at a gig, but they're offering you food. You go, "No, I can't unless my whoever's above me." And if you're the boss, you say, "No, if you're willing to pay, I'm willing to play. Pay a play. If
And there's another thing when it comes to corporate events as a DJ, or and you're probably in your case as well, that if, it probably happens to us more than you know, other entertainers, right?
right,
So if there's a party happening, and let's say it's a corporate event and you're at a hotel, and the end client wants to extend. Now, if they want to extend the DJ because everybody's having a good time, it's more than just extending the DJ, right? They have to extend and pay more for the room. And my guys are educated enough to go, well, we don't mind extending. We just have to talk to whoever's in charge of paying the end bill to see if that's okay, because there's more than just us, right? Maybe they have to extend whatever their contract is with the hotel.
well,
Maybe they have to extend the bar. Maybe they have to pay more for the room. Maybe, yeah, maybe because there's like video games or something else inside the room, they have to pay more for that. So there's a lot of things to consider when that's happening.
Or lighting or breakdown.
Yeah, because there's probably more uh, moving heads involved. So you just can't say yes unless it's okay with a party of people.
Well, usually they'll, okay, so a lot of times when Scott or I go to a gig, there'll be somebody there representing the company or whoever we're with, and that's our contact. Not always, but most of the time with me, we have a contact person. And we would go to that contact person and say, do you accept this overtime? Do you want us to do it? Now, and I'm going to tell you, a lot of times the person who asks you has no authority to have you stay over. And a lot of times they even say, well, you want to stay over? We got food and everything you can have. And you're going, not unless somebody's giving me that you're going to pay me. Because, not that,
Yeah.
because the next time they're going to think, let's get him less hours and just pay him food.
Another thing is funny now that you bring that up. I go, one of my DJs, right? Like he's telling me about this. Oh wow, look,
The
yay!
bubble went up. I don't know how that happened.
He was telling me about a transaction he was having with a lead, and he told him that he had pipe and drape. Well, we sell pipe and drape, right? And the client goes, "Well, lead, I don't know if they turned into a client or not because it wasn't with my company; it was with him separately." And he goes, "Yeah, the client was just like, bring the pipe and drape. Yeah, you gonna pay for it?"
Um,
So yeah, some people just assume or expect, or in their mind, "Well, it can't hurt to ask."
you know, just offhand, we provide these services before you say what we have. If we provide, if you put that in front, then it implies that they're going to have to pay for it. We can provide these services for a fee.
Yeah.
Uh, uh,
Yeah, I
but
didn't hear the
you
whole
know,
transaction, but
no, and then it gets bad. Guys, really, after many, many years you're out there, you're going to find little glitches and find out ways to fix them. We just give you a lot of pointers because we've already been there and we've had this happen to us actually a lot about the overtime stuff. And you got to tell if you're like me, you have to tell your entertainers because they don't know. And they'll say, okay. And then they come to you and say, I want paid for that time. I said, well, anybody? Well, somebody asked me to stay. Well, who was it? And they're like, oh no. Well, then I am not going to pay you. I have some people will stay over because they have a line because they don't close their line right. And I say, if nobody gave you the permission to stay and you stayed, you, I'm not going to pay you. The client a lot of times will call me and say, we're so happy he stayed and we want to pay. I've got a guy just perfect. He's the best character artist in Dallas, seriously. And he, wherever he goes, he stays and they want to pay. I don't care. I used to fight that one, but sometimes I just don't care anymore. He gets away with it every time. And when they do that, I am making exceptions for exceptional people every once in a while. You got to know what you have. And he's great and he's really great artist. And he just feels that he doesn't want to cheat anybody by not letting them get a picture everybody else did. And he knows he's not going to get paid if they don't pay him. And it's just the way it is. And I would say 90% of the time he gets paid for the extra hour or two. But the next year, what's so good about that is they hire another character artist with them. And our average gig's 10 years. So, and then after that, the next year they hire another one and they keep doing it.
well,
It's kind of
some
funny.
people are more worried about the short time hit, right? The loss and the short goal because you had to do what you had to do for a client, not realizing that it could blossom into something else because you became workable. And it all depends on what your goals are. It again, we talk about emotional intelligence. If you do a favor for somebody, is that going to be reciprocated, or does the other person just think they're entitled to that? And that's up to you to decide whether or not that works for you or not. So what he was saying was, I did this favor for you, and then now I got two, now I got three. And as you start to understand more of emotional intelligence, that it will come back to you. it's up to you to gauge the person. And we have a whole class on emotional intelligence and how that works out. And you can just tell by somebody else's actions if it's going to be favorable or if they're just taking advantage of you because there's, double-edged sword there, right?
Well, but if we could go back to the whole
Oh
thing.
my God. Yeah. I mean, we could go into a
We could go to
wormhole.
narcissism where they believe that everybody owes them and they get what they want. And you just gotta, like Scott just said, is basically you gotta judge the person in front of you. And if you feel a weirdness, then say, if you feel a weirdness, ask them. Just like we say, ask a question. Don't just assume, because when you assume, you don't know. Say, well, you want us to stay. Are you guys willing to pay us for the extra time? It's billed at the same rate because you already told your entertainers it's billed at the same rate, and they say yes or no. And,
And
and go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead. Now, I was about to say, like, being direct with somebody sometimes works in your best favor, and then there's other ways to put things. Like when you take hypnosis class and NLP classes, sometimes just directly coming out and saying something would be better if you use the metaphor, right? Or a different example, or when something else happened to you. I had a sales call yesterday and they were, oh, can you give us a discount? And that gets a little annoying when you talk to everybody and everybody wants a discount. And that's just what it is, right? Like if you're on a sales call, you have to accept that they're going to try and haggle you down. Like, because that's just, I don't know, the nature. They want to feel like they got a good deal. And at the same time, don't you want to feel appreciated for the prices you set because that's the price you set and that's what you think your time is worth? Because not many people, maybe that work in an office or have different lives, don't realize that we sell time for money, where most of the people in the world don't, right? Or they don't understand, or they have the office mentality of 40 hours and however that works out, where somebody who has their own business is 24 hours a day answering the call whenever it comes in. So I had used the metaphor of something else that had happened to me. Whereas, oh, I was doing it at this price and then someone wanted to haggle me down. And then when does it stop? Or when do you become appreciated? And then I also said something like this on the sales call, which, depending on where you're at with your business, maybe not explain it quite like I did, but at that moment, I said, well, do you think my services are worth any less on a Monday than a Saturday? Because I've had someone say that to me before too. So, so it was just where I was at that point. Would I recommend everybody to do that? No. If you're looking to grow, you would say, yes, I could do a discount for you. And then at the same time, they do this in internet marketing all the time. They'll inflate their price really high and then give you a really big discount. And at the same point, if that meets where you want to be, you could do that as well. There's different ways to look at it, right? So if you had your price double than what you wanted and then gave them half off, well, there you go. There's your discount.
And and some people are okay. The mentality Monday and Saturday. A lot of 9 to 5ers work weekdays, and then Saturday and Sunday they're off. That's their important time, and that's our biggest time usually. Yet, um, the Monday through Friday for a lot of corporate is what they're going to be going to. So you want to do. Uh, it's really saying. I know it's going around in a circle here, but basically you're saying to yourself, am I valuable on a Monday? And a lot of times, if you get so much work and you get gigs on Monday, you're as valuable wherever you're going to get the gigs. You got to make that call. And I would, a lot of times, for my people, I would give maybe a little bit concession if it was a Monday. If I had 6 people out on a Monday, and they usually my people usually don't get too much work on a Monday. Seriously, the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday bulk of work for our kind of guys. We're pretty much background for any entertainment, anything, clowns, mimes, jugglers,
it,
all
it,
that kind
it
of
all
stuff.
depends where you are in life, right? One of my coaches says we're all dying. And how do you, right? We're all going to die, right? We're all dying. How do you want to spend your time? You know, you want to spend your time being appreciated? Do you want to spend your time where you feel most valued, right? And then what is it worth to you? And do you feel comfortable doing something with whatever the situation is, or would you rather work on a different goal? Way I look at it, my daughter's 5. I have this time with her. What can I give her? I can give her memories, right? All the other material things are just material things. I could take her out somewhere and then have a memory. because when we all go, that's what we'll be left with. So that's up to you what that's worth to you.
There you go. That's a good one. Really. Also, it does depend on where you're at in your business. That's why we say work every day to become the best business you can. And, if you do that, sooner or later, you'll have a little bit more time to do other things.
Yeah,
Again,
everybody has different situations and different paths and what they need in the moment that they need it. And the only thing I'm saying is look at the bigger picture.
yeah.
You don't have to be so in. I mean, being in the now is good, but what is the now getting you to?
So have your goals, guys. Have your goals and work towards them. Anyway, this is all a tangent today. We came
I
on.
know the whole goal was to go over my 5 minute
Well, we can
presentation.
do that. We can still do that. They're going to hang in here if they want information, and they're not if they're not. So who cares? Let's do that. Only reason the tangent is because of I think we went off on the tangent because people will, not all people. Again, we said you got to know the person in front of you. Are they really trying to use you, or they want to do a win-win situation? And re reciprocity is what you want with everybody, and you want to give it back professionally. That's where you get a win-win. So a lot of times when people are asking for other stuff, they're willing to pay for it. We just got to figure out if they're willing to pay for it, or are they just trying to get a freebie? And sometimes a freebie gives you goodwill for the next gig, but if it's not a repeat business and it's not somewhere you might want to consider, we're service, and just like you, if your people have to stay over, they get paid right. If your
Mhm.
bartender stays an extra hour, they're getting paid right, and everybody else on your staff gets paid. So do we. I mean, not that blunt, but kind of that blunt. If you feel this guy's a prick in front of you, if you feel there's really a good guy and everything, you got to make that judgment call there. And then you'll do that throughout your career because it's your business and you've got to do what kind of right for both. And remember, reciprocity back is good. Doing a little bit extra for somebody when it doesn't hurt you, good thing. If they're just going over and pushing you, see how far they can push you. I don't like that. Okay, back to you. Let's do the
Oh yeah,
BBG.
let me pull up my notes here, and then I'll hit the timer, and I'll stop at 5 minutes.
Right. So, guys, this is going to be great. Just listen to this. You get a presentation for free right here, and we're gonna.
Yeah, and then we're working out the kinks, and for the presentation, it's supposed to be slide less, like no slides. And I was like, oh man.
This is a run through of something that you eventually would have to pay for. So if you want to listen
Yeah,
up,
you're getting it the right here and right now. The
I'm hyped. I'm hyped. I won't be chiming in on this because I won't be there, so I'm just going to listen.
All right. I'll hit the start button. What's going on, guys? Welcome. My name is Scott King, Coach Scott King, and I'm so happy to be able to present this information in front of you. I went ahead and made a little bit of a outline so that I could cover the most amount of information within the short amount of time that I have to present it. So, without further ado, let me start with block number one. I called it the building business blocks, and block number one is talking about lead generation. How does that happen? There's different types of lead types, right? There's organic versus paid. Are they hot, warm, or cold? And understanding lead temperature. So it goes down to understanding organic versus paid. Organic is basically anybody that may refer you out, right? They might know who you are, friends and family, or maybe an event that you did in the past and there was a bridesmaid that wanted you for their event. And then there's paid leads. We want to talk a little bit about paid leads because basically that's where you're putting money into Google, or if you have the not, that's where leads that are specifically looking for your service are being directed to your company. So those leads will help with your organic leads. So if you have regular business and word of mouth happening, paid leads also give you more information so that you can keep that steady throughout the year. And then hot, warm, and cold. What does that mean? Hot leads are people that know who you are and want your service right now. Warm leads are people that kind of connected your name to your service and they just need a little bit convincing. And then there's cold leads. These are people that have no idea who you are, and your goal should be to nurture them so that you can make them warm and eventually sign with you. And it's up to you to understand the lead temperature, right? So when you're talking to people, you want to see, well, if you heard about me, do you know who I am? And, in a roundabout way, ask where they're at when it comes to you and going with your services. So you're going to have different types of conversation strategies, like, well, asking questions like, well, how'd you hear about us? Or maybe they filled out a form on your website that said, I got your name from the knot, which works out great because now you have a starting point. And then let's talk a little bit about website strategy. Now, the way I operate, I don't have any of my prices on my website, and I want them to come to me and ask for prices. I want them to be committed to me. I want them to make that phone call, make that Zoom appointment. Anybody that's just looking for prices is just probably going to be somebody that's not ready to book right now, or maybe they could be a complicated client down in the future. If they say, just give me your prices, well, why don't you give me a call? So, with that in mind, you want to make sure to have clear call to actions on your material, on your emails, on your videos. And you also want to position yourself as the professional. Now, remember, these people aren't getting married every single weekend, and you're the person to lead them down your path. And the more that they follow your breadcrumbs, the more they're going to be invested into you and your service. So you also have to make it intriguing for them, right? So what makes it intriguing? Well, sending them a professional video that educates them. This is what DJs do. This is what my service does. And why would you want to pick me? Well, if you're presenting yourself on a video and on the screen, they can relate to you. A lot of communication is done through body language and how you present yourself and whether or not they ring to your vibe, right? So also I have a service breakdown video. You guys are more than welcome to go to my website and check that out and how it works because I think of it as a factory line, right? Somebody comes in, I put them through the video, and then I want them to come back and say, yes, this is something I want to know more information about. So the way they get my prices and the way they find out what we do the day of their event is what they do through a phone call. And it's all educational content. Now, there's a lot of content out there that I say is kind of like confetti, right? Oh, look at me. I'm at a party. I'm doing this. You want to make sure it's educational. And that's how you nurture people that don't know who you are. And then, of course, there's sales psychology. What are compliance steps? What are yes sets? How does that natural progression work? Well, basically, when you get on a Zoom call with somebody, you ask them their name. They say, yes, that's my name. So there's building rapport at the very start, right? And then you ask them another yes question. Well, can you hear me? And then there's one that I do specifically. I say, are you ready for the spiel? And they say yes. That means it's okay for me to continue with that information because they said yes. And that's why we're here to begin with, right? So as you move forward with your sales presentation, you want to make sure that you just educate them, let them know everything that's happening throughout the day. And what that does is that sets you apart and that you're the professional and that you're moving forward with what happens in the day and that you're educated about it. So basically, I look at it as valuing myself as the teacher instead of a vendor, and I would naturally put my leads inside of a student chair, and they agree to it because we ask the right questions to make sure that happens. Now, with that in mind, I have 7 seconds left, and if you have any questions, I'll open that up the floor, and that's 5 minutes. You're muted, Jeff. It's still muted.
Sorry about that. Um,
I spoke fast
that
unintentionally.
I was going to say that I was like,
Yeah.
and
Well,
I'm
I have 5 minutes,
auditory
so I
too.
just
I know. And even though you only have 5 minutes, you need to slow down anyway because you're talking too quick that we can't understand you because it's too quick. I mean, I can almost keep up with you, but I'm visual auditory. If they're
well that if that's the case, then I'm gonna have to really like cut the material
well, you are
down.
because just me going. Blah, blah, blah,
Yeah, I didn't get any of it.
no, I got some of it, but I'm ADHD and quick thinker and everything, and it was still a little hard. Did you see me, Joan? You don't
I
see me.
was not looking at you. I was
No,
just
it
looking
doesn't,
at
it
my.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I was just saying, I was zoning out. I even went into a trance for a second. I started picking up paper. I need to do
Dude,
this. I was like,
I didn't even get a
oh,
quarter of the way through my material. I
oh,
didn't even get a quarter.
you got to base it down to what three facts? What are the
So
three things
guys,
you
do
want?
me a favor. Write something down in the comments. Write something down in the comments.
Well, if we're still on, do you want me to go on talking? But what I'm saying,
I
and
mean, yeah, tear me apart. I don't care.
okay, I'm not tearing you apart. What I'm saying is what you want to do with a very small speech, which is 5 minutes, you want to come out with like 1 to 3 things or one thing you want to teach them. One thing. Say, there's this 7,000 things I can teach you right now, but the number one
I
thing I
want to
think
give it all to you.
you can't. You can't in 5 minutes.
I want to give it. I want you to have the whole deal.
Well, right, you can't. So, what you want to do is really even a basic outline. These are the 5 things I'd like to teach you in my presentation today. And this is why, make them real sure you got 1 second. Or you go, I'm going to give you one bit of information that's going to stick with you for the rest of your life right now. And if we do a longer presentation, I'll give you more. But right now, what I want to teach you is it really matters where you want to be in your business. And
My
then,
mind just exploded in all these
oh
different
no, no,
directions. Like, oh
that's
my goodness.
but that's what you're always getting on to me going, boo, 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 boo.
You
Now,
know
and
what? With that being
all of it.
said, I bet I could slow down some of my sales calls because I rattled them off that fast.
That's right. And we don't even know what the friggle you're talking about. Okay. Seriously, not everybody. Maybe I know a lot of what you're talking about, but they're not going to know, yes sets. What the hell's a yes set? Why do you need a yes set? You're going, and then you need a compliance set. Well, and they've never taken hypnosis or anything. It's like, what is a yes set? And now they're going veering off to the right, and you're going on to the left, and they're still going to the right. Yes set. Why does it? What does it matter? I did like that though. I'm going to steal that one.
Which
Are you
one?
ready for my spill?
Are you ready for my spiel?
Because now, if we wanted to explain this, we could go on for 30 minutes about that. That little place right there, the third one, when he says, "Are you ready for your spill?" Now, and if he says yes, his unconscious is opened up and took the critical factor away that he's ready for the spill. And now whatever goes in much easier. Just that one little line. See, if you actually studied this stuff, you'd understand. Now, you didn't tell them what the yes set or why does it matter. See, each one of these components
Oh
are
yeah, we
in
could
its
go on for
speech.
years on each one of these things.
So yeah, I think you're hitting them with too much information. What a lot of times when they say do a speech, come out with one. You only got 5 minutes. One thing you want them to take away. If you could give them one thing today and say to your people, you say, I just there's just so much to give you, and I have so much to give you. If I had longer time, I could give you more. But I'm just going to try to give you one thing. What's the most important thing in business? Is you want to be there. You want to be there in business and you want to do everything it takes from the beginning A to Z it's going to take. So do you really want to be in that? And then if you do, give it all you got. Because if you don't, you're going to be in a place, you're going to be in a business you don't like. And if you're in a business you don't like, you're never going to do as well as you could if you love the business. So when you get into business for yourself, find something you really want to do. It doesn't matter what it is, but find something you then study every single part it takes to do that one event. And if you haven't got it's like the I'm about to do it. I was about to do it too. The well-formed outcome. I know you don't know what that is, but basically understanding what you want, what do you got to do to get it? Do you need different resources to get it? And are you ready to do it? And if all those aren't in line, go do something else. Seriously, come on. Do you want to do I can't give you everything. I mean, I've got everything. I could give you in 6, 8 hours here if you want to sit in front of me. I could give you how to run a whole company and how I did it. But today, I only got 5 minutes. But I would say I don't care. In
I just
I
stopped.
don't even care. I don't even care what business it is. This goes across all lines. It doesn't matter if it's DJs or whatever. You gotta, if you're gonna be the best at it, you're gonna have to like what you do. And if you don't like what you do, please for yourself and everybody around you, go find something else.
I think that's the biggest thing. Like someone may look at us and be like, "Oh, well, they're just doing this. Let's do that." And it's kind of like, well, we're operating off of years of experience and it's just become second nature. Like when I learned how to change my behavior by the way I think, it didn't happen overnight. Like it was beaten in my head that like, "Oh, you're angry because of X, Y, and Z. Are you getting the results that you want?" No, I'm not getting the results that I want. Okay, what other way can you act? What other way works with your identity? And then over time, it just became the new behavior.
Right. And nobody's saying all this is going to change in a day. Yet what I was saying is the basic, that 5 minutes for me would be basically find something you want to do and then learn how to do it. And then if you can't do it, get other people to help you do it because sometimes you need help from other people. But at the very basic of it, do you want? And then ask yourself, why do you want it? What would it do for you? And do you have the resources to do it? See, because if you don't have any of those, it's not going to happen, not the best it could, because we want you to be a happy person. Well, okay, a happiness coach talking. I want you to be happy. You don't have to be happy to be
Russell
alive.
Brunson says, I don't care if you make money, I just want you to be happy.
Right,
But you can make money while being happy.
right. Why not? So, uh, I would think, I think the truth is, you're going to spend a lot of time at whatever gig you do for money. I would say be wise and pick something that you would rather do because you're going to spend anywhere from half to three-quarter of your life doing that. So if whatever it is, maybe go get something else. And I'm not trying to discourage you from doing what I do because I've done it and it really works for me. But you're different. You might even do 10 times better than I am, or you might do worse. But and what I'm saying to you is, do you want to do it? Because if you want something and you love it, you'll do it more and you'll love it more and you'll have at least a quarter of your life or a half or whatever happy. Now make the other half happy. So that's what I think. Now, I'm not telling you what to do in your 5 minutes, but in my 5 minutes, that's kind of where I'd go because I know that when I was a kid, when I started this 40 years ago, that I really believed I had to. I didn't have a choice. I had to be an entertainer. I I didn't. I believed I had to be an entertainer or not live. So that was an easy one. Die or be an entertainer. What's your choice? You're going to be more of an entertainer. And I really did.
Well, that's
Truthfully,
connected
guys.
to your identity, which we could talk about identity.
So yeah, we could talk about any of this. So what we want you to do tomorrow is cut it down a little because you can't put a 7 hour speech in 5 minutes. You're going to have to come
Don't
up
tell
with
me what
one.
I can't do.
Oh, you calm down. Can't do it. You just can't. I totally agree. Guys, I totally agree with Scott. You don't know what somebody else can do. I mean, if just because you can't do it doesn't mean Scott can't do it. Scott is a genius. He really is. So he could do it. Now, and maybe I can't do it, but doesn't mean somebody else can. So yeah, you're putting limitations when you say you can't do it and you believe yourself can't do it. And I can't do half the shit that Scott can do.
Maybe I'll
Really.
give them so much information, they'll be like, you know what? We need to give this guy 10 minutes.
Well, basically, if you're only doing 5 minutes there's no reason to go because you just got too much information. So come up with one point out of all that you think is,
So, what was the biggest point out of all that that you think was the most important?
well, again, what I said is the most important is wanting to do it. The other thing is like
Actionable steps they want. They want actionable steps.
actionable steps.
Out of the
One
information
is,
that I
okay,
presented,
go bring it down to the bare minimum. Advertisement, one of the most important things. There's 5 points. I'm not going to hit on them today. I'm just going to give you the 5 points of this because this is the number one thing that's going to get you leads into the room. Now, there's this lead, this lead, this lead. You can look them all up because I don't have time for this. But these are the 5 leads. No, I'm serious. So
yeah,
you write it down, they get the outline, they can go look it up. What does this lead mean? And I
I'd love to
encourage
tell you
you guys,
more, but I can't.
right? No, but that's first thing you say. I'm going to give you a condensed a lot, and I'm going to give you three or five of the most important parts, and I'm just going to hit on them what you can go look up. You know, one of the most important things if you have a business, you have to have people. And how do you get people to come to your business? There's leads. There's what types of leads? There's cold leads, warm leads, hot leads. There's advertisement. There's unpaid
Organic, yeah, versus paid leads.
organic, and yeah. So, and I don't have time to go in all of them, but just to understand, advertisement very important. Second, you have a product that you can sell. Boom. Third, do do you know how to talk on the phone when you do get the lead? What do you how you gonna tell the lead what you got that's better than somebody else, or why they should book with you? Because this is very important. Why would they book with you and somebody else? Why would I book with you? So there's third. And then uh scarcity, or that we're going to get booked somewhere, so you need to make it a little scarce, either 7 days or the next day or whatever you want to say, and then explain to them how they
Yeah.
do it.
So basically, all right, let me try that one more time. What's going on, guys? And welcome back. Or wait a minute, stop. Boom. Start again. Lap, doo doo, stop, clear, reset, boom. What's going on, guys? Thank you for your time. My name is Scott King, Coach Scott King. If you want to check out my website, I also have a company called DJsorlando.com. If you want to see how that business is growing, I have plenty of pictures for you guys to check out and how I operate my business. Today, I just want to give you as much information as I can, but I am limited to 5 minutes. So let's begin. Now, the first important thing, building block number one, is lead generation. We have different types of lead types. We have organic versus paid, hot, warm, and cold. And if you don't know what those are, please go ahead and look those up because I only have 5 minutes. I want to make sure that I get to as much information as I possibly can. So you want to make sure that you understand the difference between the lead temperature of where they are, hot, warm, or cold, and then there's conversation strategies that you can go over when talking to somebody. Now, with that in mind, we have website strategy. Me personally, I removed the prices from my website, and you want to create some sort of intrigue that they, want to reach out to you, and then understanding what compliance steps are and having them follow your breadcrumbs so that they feel invested into your business. The more invested they are, the more they're willing to sign with you, and the more that you can prove that your service is worth what you're charging. Now, when it comes to talking to leads and how I present myself, it's all educational approach. We know that these people aren't getting married every single weekend, and you want to set yourself as a professional. So you, as the teacher, would want your clients and leads to sit in the student chair and then educate them on what goes on throughout the day when you're at their event. Also, clear call to actions, very important. If you don't tell somebody to do something, they won't do it. So when it comes to your emails and your videos, you want to make sure to tell them to do something. Now, it's not like you're going to tell them to sign a contract right there. You want them to book a Zoom call. You want them to email you. And then you, on your end, have to call them back as fast as possible, put them inside of an email chain, and make sure to follow up with them frequently. So that positions you as the professional. Now, when it comes to video marketing, I have a video on my website. You're more than welcome to check that out. And it explains all the different services that we have because you want to have your leads come in through like a factory outline, a factory setting, right? Lead comes in, go watch these videos, get back to me, and then you keep them warm and nurture them as your emails and material comes out. So some people want to have their prices on their website. Basically, you would put up a pop-up screen so that you have your email because that wants to book with you, they're going to need to see you like 12 times. And then I went to a conference recently and now they said that number's like 17 times. So that's just because of the way things are these days, right? Social media has kind of got us, deadened. Now, with that in mind, how does psychology work in a sales call? Now, for those of you that don't know what a yes set is, a yes set is small agreements as you work your way up to bigger agreements. So when I get on a Zoom call with somebody, I say, is this your name? And they say yes. And then I say, can you hear me? And they say yes. What's that do? I'm giving a command and they're saying yes. So now we're building a little bit of rapport. Now, here's the big question, and I'm freely giving you this, and make sure to use it in your speech, and you will understand it more as you use it. Is I'll say, well, are you ready for the spiel? And they'll say yes. Otherwise, why would you be on the call? And it makes sense. So now that they're in the student chair, and then you can just educate them on how your services work throughout the day. And by the time you get done, you can ask more yes questions, right? Like, wouldn't you want X, Y, and Z to happen? And they'll say yes. So that's the natural progression. And you want to, position yourself as, the professional. And then as you're explaining what your services are, you're adding value, right? Because no one's going to come to you unless you have a problem they can solve. Well, how does your service solve their problem? And then you explain that as you're going through your sales process. So I realize I got a minute and 15 seconds left. So what are some good actionable steps? Actionable steps are when you want to audit your website. Now, when you audit your website, you want to make sure that your pictures are showing people enjoying your services. It doesn't always have to be about you. It's about them seeing themselves in the pictures that you present. And that's pretty important. You also want to make sure that you apply email implementation, right? That you're following up to them frequently. Either get a MailChimp account or some other CRM that will send them emails to let them know who you are, keep them top of mind, and they will connect you to the service that you provide. And that's how you convince somebody. You want to think of it like tipping the scale. How many times would you want to touch or see somebody or have them interact with you before they decide that you're the one for the job? Now, with that in mind, make sure you look professional online, make sure you're sending out the right informational products so that you're educating them on your services. And what else can you do? Make sure your contract is, ready for your services. And that's my 5 minutes. Any better? Slow down? No, yeah. You're muted.
We're teaching Scott patience today. When you were saying that, right in the middle of your speech, what'd be good is, and I don't, you probably do this already. It just came to my mind. When we're at your event, we're going to do this, this, and this.
Oh yeah.
Switch it over. Yeah,
Presuppositions.
right when you're in it, and you kind of go as in, and it goes in their mind that they're going to be there
Sure.
instead of going. So when we're there, we're going to do this, this, and this because of this, this, and this. And my guys always do this, so you'll be happy when we're doing that, right? And then we got a yes set again. And when every time you get a yes, they complied in their brain. So when we're doing that, isn't that right, Scott?
Yeah.
See, you don't have to say yes, or they can just nod their head because truthfully, you want to have a good party, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Right, and well, you already know that if what you've seen from us so far that we've done
Or you
thousands
wouldn't be
of
here.
them, you
Yeah.
wouldn't be here, right? Click, click. And if you can tell, there's a lot of power in this after you get understand it. And
Oh
that's
yeah. And then you compile these things.
so. Anyway, with that said, it's like,
Here's my oldest trick that I learned, and I've kind of abandoned it. I don't use it anymore, but when I heard it, I used it all the time. So when I was on a sales call with somebody, I would say, we're at your party and we're rocking it out. Explain it to me. So they have to envision you doing their party and explaining what a great time it is. We're at your party and you're having the experience of a lifetime. What did I do to make that happen? And then now they have to create that.
well, well, there's a caveat to that. You
I
have
don't
to
use I
figure
don't
out,
use it anymore.
yeah,
But
you have to figure out whatever their expectations is, and then you're going to have to either cut them down or bring them up or match them.
yeah, but when they talk to you, they'll use visual words, auditory words,
Right,
kinesthetic
and then
words.
you can get in there and you can understand. And see, this is way advanced than that. This is after years of understanding the visual, auditory, kinesthetic, gustral, and olfactory. So, and if you didn't understand any of those words, then you don't know what he's talking about, probably. So, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustral. If you don't know what that means, then you probably don't know what he's talking. So sometimes you have to get a little bit more educated to get to where we're going to be because we've already done this. You visual is you see, and some people see, and that's how they see the world. Now, everybody has all five of these factors. What are they using to judge the world by, and what are they doing with these? So when you're talking to someone visual, they're gonna, if you know
They're
somebody
gonna
visual,
talk like I just did the first
visual
time around.
to, and they're probably going to talk faster than everybody around them unless they're and so I think both Scott and I are visual auditory, but he might be auditory visual, but I'm visual
Yeah, I think
auditory.
I'm flip. Yeah.
And so, and everybody has all of these. Okay, most everybody. There's not any. There's exceptions to most all rules. So what are
Everybody.
you judging? Yeah, that's what I said. Most. So we're judging the world by how we perceive it. And everybody sees what they judge the world by their own map, which is map is basically how you're seeing the world through your five senses. Okay. Now we have the five senses judging that. Anyway, this is a whole thing. So I
Yeah,
won't
I think we
there.
might have
That
to
would be
cut
a whole
this
5 hour
a little
class.
short today
Oh,
because I
yeah.
have my
Uh,
emails are
oh yeah,
uh,
yeah. No, no, no problem at all. But yeah, good job. I like the second one better. I
and I
did.
covered totally different things.
It doesn't matter. What you want to do is give them something they can take away in 5 minutes.
Okay.
It's basically the 5 minute commercial that you say on your. It's the. It's a step by step process. Why would you hire me? That's really what it is. It's basically explaining your funnel.
Yep.
The funnel is, you know, the first thing is, do they need you? The next thing is,
Oh, so I can make them
why me
problem.
instead
I
of
can start
somebody
with
else?
problem aware.
They have a problem. They have to have a party. Okay,
Well, oh
they
no,
need.
as a
It's
coach,
not a problem. Yeah.
I have a business. I need clients.
Okay.
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
a
Okay,
business. Yeah.
so would you like to get more clients?
Yeah.
Okay, well, perfect. With that in mind, I can show you how I built my business. Would that be something you'd be interested in?
Well, sure. I mean, couldn't hurt.
Okay, well,
I love knowledge. I love
number
knowledge.
one, it starts with making sure that you have a presentable business, right? You want to make sure that your website's up to date, make sure that you have educational stuff on your website so that, let's say you're driving, right? And someone calls you up and says, I need a DJ for a party. Well, okay. Can you go to djsorlando.com and click this tab? And that's what we have. Does that sound like something you would not? And they would say yes or no. Okay, well, how about a different tab? Like how many different pages do you have to answer whatever problems the person calling you has? Oh, I want uplights. Oh, geez, I just made a website for just uplights. You want to click services and click uplights? Is that what you're looking for? And they say, yes, I can do this all while I'm driving, right? Okay, well, uplights, they go for X amount of dollars. And is that something within your budget? Perfect. Anything else I can help you with? And then you could do this all while you're driving because okay, I went on a tangent, right?
Yeah, that's like,
The first thing you want is everything explained on your website, not just hoopla. Second thing you want is to have a system, an email system, so that you can send emails to people and keep in touch with them, keep your company top of mind because they have to connect you to your service, right? And then after you have your email set up and your website ready to go, well, let's put some people into those systems, right? You're going to need the paid ads and organic leads, both of those. And that'll keep you fluent throughout the year. A lot of people have organic leads and it does this, right? Paid leads will keep you even or even go up because check it like this: your bills do this, your sales will do this. And the whole goal is to get on top of the bills because they're going to keep going up. And with that in mind, let's not argue with the subconscious. Let's talk to people so that they understand where you're coming from and find out if it's a win-win situation. I'd love to tell you more, but that's 5 minutes.
5 minutes, 5 minutes. Oh.
5 minutes? What am I gonna do with 5 minutes? We're on here for hours.
The other thing is like they say give you a 2 minute spill in a elevator speech.
Yeah, yeah. Elevator pitch. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got an elevator pitch. Something came to my mind when you're driving, Scott, that you could
Man, maybe I could type that
say,
into my what's
what
that
so,
LE?
so well, this is something my brain just said to me when you said that. It said to me, tell them while you're driving, hey man, I've got a video. All you got to do is text me your email, or text me and say I want my thing, and I'll send you a link. And that's the easiest to get out of that call. I'll send you a link, and after you watch that, come back to me. And it's that service thing that says all the stuff you're doing, and just push here, push here, push here, push here.
I,
If you want to know more, and then call me back when you're ready to book.
So I asked my highly trained AI to give me an elevator pitch, and it says I help service-based businesses owners scale without competing on price, using three core building blocks: lead generation, sales psychology, and business infrastructure. I grew my DJ company from 100,000 to 370,000 in annual revenue. The best part: these blocks work for any service business. I'll show you exactly how I generated consistent leads, closed at 70%, and build and scale. No theory, just proven strategies that create predictable growth. The question isn't whether these building blocks work, it's which one you want to implement first.
Man, why don't you do that one?
All right, I gotta let you go, man. Hey guys, leave a comment down below if you thought I rattled off like a machine gun. I want to hear it. That's the I I built up my visual superpowers over the last couple of years, and I didn't access it as much as I do now. And when you're in the zone, you don't even know you're doing it. You know, that's why we have feedback. Feedback. All right. Thank you, Tharpo.